Hey guys, I just wanted to check in and so one of the things that I really miss, aside from seeing you guys every day and telling you good morning or good afternoon, um, I miss teaching you. So I made this little video to kind of explain how our events are connected because I don't want you to think that we're just throwing you events. Um, while you're on doing the NTI work and there's no connection between them. Like these things don't exist in isolation. There's a very direct relationship between what you started learning about on Monday and where you're going even on NTI day 20. Um so here's where we are. Second Great Awakening. Ideally, you read about it yesterday. So the Jacksonian era and Industrial Revolution. This is a 20-year period that's going to bring about huge change in America. You see the rise of cities with all the problems and the benefits that come with them. The Americans are gaining land. They're moving people out of land. Um, and you just have like the way of life is changing for almost every single American. So because of these extreme changes, people are going to look for a way to explain them. So you see a rise in the religion with a second great awakening. Religion is going to bring social control. Um, in that it tells people, like, it gives them codes for how they live their life, things that are right and things that are wrong, and the way that you view the world. So the second great awakening is this huge evangelical movement. This is where you'll see Baptist, Methodist, as well as like Unitarian, Shakers, Oneida, Mormons, religion growing. And the Baptist and Methodist, fun fact, were really active on the frontier, which would have been in the 1820s, where you live. So there's a really good reason why in Kentucky you can't swing a dead cat and not hit a Baptist or a Methodist church, because they're the ones that were having the revivals in the frontier. So when the Americans turn to religion and it starts becoming more important in their life, you're going to see these reform movements come out of the Second Great Awakening as a way to fix these evils that they saw in society. So here's how that works. And this is where you're going today, with the assignment that we have for you. And this is what will carry us through the end of this week and the week after spring break. So the Second Great Awakening, when people started going to these revivals and being really active in the church, it's going to preach a spiritual reform from within. That's when you're fixing yourself. I go to church so I can be a better person. That's their philosophy. Is I used to be this kind of person. I went to church. I changed my ways. Now I'm a better person. That's once that part's done. Okay, I fixed me. I fixed my sins. Now I'm going to look at the world around me and how can I fix the sins that I see in the world. So you're gonna see reforms come out of it. And the Second Great Awakening took a really democratic approach to religion, in that there was a role for everyone in these, men, women, black, white, enslaved, free. All of these people were capable of a personal relationship with God and were capable of salvation and were worthy of salvation. So we're going to redefine equality. And that's going to show there are 5 big movements that are going to come out of the Second Great Awakening. The temperance movement, if you watch that whole video that I posted yesterday with Heimler's history, the temperance movement was about limiting the sale and the use of alcohol. Americans in the 1820s drank about 4 times as much as Americans drink now. And so you can't really have heaven on earth if everyone's drunk all the time. So this is a reform movement that's going to be led by women, and eventually in the 1920s, they are successful in banning the entire sale of alcohol in the United States. It's a constitutional amendment. Um, Second Great Awakening is going to lead us to education reforms, public schools, Women will have more of a say as they have a larger role in the church. They're going to take that to other places in society, and we'll look at that when we come back from spring break. Prison reform. If the goal of prison is to rehabilitate and change these people and put them out into society, how do you change that? And the most successful reform movement and the biggest reform movement out of the Second Great Awakening is the abolition movement, which was concerned with ending slavery, ending the practice of slavery. So if the Bible teaches, and the New Testament teaches that everyone's equal in the eyes of God, right? Well, how do you explain slavery with that? Those two things don't connect when people start reading the Bible and understanding it and preaching it for themselves. So with the Second Great Awakening and these new ideas of equality, people begin to see that everyone's life is equally valuable, that enslaved persons were equally valuable and their souls were just as worthy of salvation as the free persons or the white Americans that were living there. So I just wanted to quickly go over what the connections are between these three things. Like, industrial revolution brings these giant changes. Americans will look for a way to fix these changes or explain them, so they turn to church. They fix themselves in the church. Then they turn it on, how do I fix others, with the Second Great Awakening. So I hope that kind of helps you understand the connections between them, and that it's not just like a religious or a political or a economic issue. All these things are connected. So what I'm going to have you guys do today is NTI Day 8, you have a reading on Newsella over reform movements. And we gave you a graphic organizer. With the reform movements in the article, you're going to tell me who the leaders were. It could be a group of people, an organization, or it could be a person, You're going to tell me what the conditions were before the reform movement. So, like, what caused the reform movement, and then you're going to tell me what the goal of the reform movement is. And then at the end, you just sum it all up. What's the central idea? Summarize it. Who, what, when, where, why. I'm going to do another Google Hangout on Thursday. Let's do 4:30 to 5. If you guys have questions, if you're stuck with something, I'll be available for you all. You don't have to come, but if you just want to check in, you're always welcome. Other than that, if you guys have any other issues, email, GChat, remind, whatever. But I hope you guys are safe and I hope you're healthy. And if there's anything else I can do for you guys, please let me know.